Welcome to Cast Dice, the podcast that explores the great big wild world of tabletop gaming that exists today. It's been said once or twice, mainly on this podcast, that we are in the middle of a gaming renaissance. There are just too many good games that we can spend our hobby time and our hobby dollars on, and it can lead to a serious case of not knowing what to play next. And I guess that's the purpose of this podcast. It's to talk to people about the games that they enjoy, playing on the tabletop or in other places, to talk about big industry events, and to talk to the people who make these games. Today, we are going to sort of step outside of those parameters, and I guess we're going to talk about the games that we enjoy playing, but we're also going to take a look at... As a podcaster, I love to talk about games. I love to talk about the hobby. I'm a big hobby hack. I just love playing with toy soldiers and talking about it, as you guys have figured out over what? We're close to 400 episodes on this network. However, YouTube is something that I very rarely jump into, and I need to get back into. So when I had a prolific YouTuber reach out to say, "Hey, friend, let's talk shop," I said, yeah, let's do that. And in doing so, I was introduced to a new YouTube channel that was filled with phenomenal and yet accessible terrain building tips and just some rad games that I love playing that are often a little bit off the beaten path. So I thought today could be a really cool time to talk about some games we haven't talked about in a little while that I absolutely love, with someone who is very knowledgeable in them and whose YouTube channel I honestly think is great value. And if you haven't checked it out, it is really good stuff to have on in the background when you're painting, because that's what I've been doing. Friends, please do welcome to the show our new friend, Tony from Gergen Gaming. Tony, how you doing, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on. And you have 100% oversold who I am and what I do. So please tell people they're in for disappointment. That was very nice.
No way, man. Like, your terrain looks great. The way you do the tutorials, it's short, it's sharp, it shows people how they can do it. You go to some YouTube channels, and I've been watching some terrain building stuff from Marvel recently, and I don't have half the tools they're talking about. And I have a pretty prolific hobby tool collection. I don't, and they're talking about strategies that, are a little above my pay grade. And I've been hobbying literally my whole life. And I'm like, this is just not attainable. When you do stuff, I can do all of what you're doing. And I say that in a way of accessibility, and it looks fantastic. So for me, you're doing the good Lord's work over there and showing us that we can create good tabletop terrain to make our games look great, but also we can do it. And it isn't that out of reach. Oh yeah, watch this video. And then you start watching and go, I actually can't do that. So man, I love your stuff.
Well, thank you. And so not only did you hit on a couple of things, but like the weird and esoteric tools, or I had someone call them ingredients that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to order something online from some other half of the world, wait 6 months for it to get here just to forget what I was going to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I have to go to some weird CD hardware store in the middle of another town. I'm not doing that. And then as far as the accessibility goes, my whole thing is, and again, I want to be clear, I love these people. These are the people who got me started in what I do. But, like Black Magic Craft. 90% of what I learned from him. And the other 90% of what I learned, it was probably the terrain tutor.
Yeah, I was going to say, bring up Mel, man. He's been on the show.
Oh.
Legend. Mel is the man. Terrain tutor does
fantastic.
Great yeah,
fantastic. And he's a little more accessible, I think. But, and again, it's not just those two, but especially when you see people making dioramas or any of that stuff, it's not just accessibility of like materials, but it's also an accessibility of a skill level. So for me, I watch those and okay, I have a vague idea of what I'm going to do, but now I have to take what they did and dumb it down from, a 10. These things could be in movies that they make. So I have to turn it from a 10 like skill level into my maybe a 3 skill level. And whereas what I try to do is the opposite. I try to like, okay, here's some trash I made out of cardboard and spackle, and you can do it. You can do it better already. So,
Now, I want to stop you right there because, man, I'm telling you that your stuff does not look like trash and spackle. It looks sweet. It looks great on the tabletop. And that's what is
yeah,
important. If you can
that's what
show
a good paint
someone
job
how
does.
to do that, that's key, right?
100%. And when I say trash and spackle, I mean that's because most of what I'm doing is like cardboard and foam. And you know, I do have more esoteric tool. I have a Proxon foam cutter. I have a 3D printer, and I try not to use them. Or if I do use them, I try to show an alternate way of doing things. Because everyone can find cardboard, everyone can find spackle, everyone has access to Mod Podge. So the only problem is I got to figure out how to say the same thing 50 different times and try to be punchy.
It's part of that algorithm, right? Now, if
Oof.
folks are wanting to see your page, as I said, it is Gergen Gaming. Now, let me tell people how to spell that if you're listening to the audio show. That is Gergen Gaming, of course, with another G. So we're talking 3 G's there. Gergen Gaming, look it up on YouTube, friends. But you don't just have terrain stuff on there. You also talk about games, and you play out some games. Now, am I correct in just having looked through what you have that you are a bit of a skirmish gamer?
Yes, so that is 100% due to my inability to paint more than 3 minis that match.
Love
I
it.
cannot. I forget what his name is, but there's from my mini factory. There's they're called Solaris miniatures. They're like Crusaders with kind of a bulky Space Marine look to them. They look great, and I've painted my 3rd one, and I'm already like, yeah, this is an army now. They all match. Okay, cool.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I think I said something along the lines of on this show, I don't know if I have another army in me. And as I've been saying recently, thank God for technology in painting changing. The advent of people using makeup sponges for zenithal highlighting and for quick dirty sponge painting has meant that all of a sudden my skill or my ability to get through base coats and highlight, that first level of highlight pretty quickly for most things. So later this year, I'm going to try and paint something like 100 Space Marines in a month or two. But largely that is going to be me with a makeup sponge and some spray paint, and then only brush the final highlights and the bits and pieces that need doing.
That'll be cool.
Because anything else is like, oh God. It took me 2.5 years to paint my bolt action Soviet Black Death Naval Brigade force in black and dark blue and some occasional like khaki pouches. That was soul destroying. So yeah. Well, brother, I hear you.
Yeah, these Crusaders, it's like 4 colors, and that's probably my weakest spot in the hobby. I am not a good painter. I'm getting there. I'm getting better, but
I was gonna say,
you do
fine, man.
Yeah. I use craft paint. I use craft paints because I'm not made of money. So usually what I'll do is I'll go base coat, then a shade with like a Vallejo game wash. And then just a basic highlight, maybe throw out some detail there, but it does the job. And especially, from 3 feet away on that table, looks great.
Well, that's the thing. I killed myself for years and years trying to get things done. But then a good friend of the show, original podcast god, Dave of War from the old LRDG and the Dwellers Below, sat me down one day and said, look, you need to understand that having anything painted on the tabletop is better than not. And
absolutely.
I went, that changes the way I look at things. And like, just get it on the table. I recently, because I'll spend a week on a Marvel Crisis Protocol model because they have so much detail and they're bigger scale, and I'm a very slow painter, but I was able to crank through a zombie team using sponging and effect paints and, quick, dirty highlights in, I don't even know how long, like a week or two.
Now, how many minis are on a Crisis Protocol team?
10. But the zombies, I'm already up to 14.
Oh, dang.
And I have, I think, 3 more that are in the mail. So yeah, I mean, and then you end up using between like 4 and 6 of them on the tabletop in a given game.
So I'm going to be changing the logo soon because a friend of mine, he does some graphic design, and he, whipped up a real nice logo for me. But right now, my logo is a little elephant in a karate gi, right? And it's one of, at that point for sure, the best thing I've ever painted. I think I've surpassed it now, but at the time it was the best. And I showed it to my buddy. His name's Dylan. He's a great dude, and he paints like canvas stuff. He does Bob Ross, videos, and he's great. He painted a picture in my son's room. It's basically Hogwarts in the style of Starry Night. It's beautiful. And I showed him the picture of this Loxodon, this elephant in a karate gi, and he goes, "Dude, that's dope." And my immediate reaction was, "Yeah, but his tusk is messed up, if you can see that." And he, just as a painter, as someone who does that stuff, he says he has the same instinct that when someone says that looks great, he says, "Thank you. Now let me tell you why you're wrong."
That's it.
But again, you're spending how much time looking at this thing? Like, at least 2 hours if you're just doing a quick and dirty paint job. You're spending 2 hours looking at this thing. You're getting a photo of it. Whereas the normal person, they're looking at it saying that's cool. And if you're lucky, hitting like. So it's not a golden demon award. You're just getting it on the table.
Exactly. And man, it looks good. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff that looks good on your channel, because some of the games that you play are games that I have played and have loved, and do not get to play enough, or I have not played and really want to. In many cases, embarrassingly, I do own some of these. Let's start with OPR, because I'm a big fan of one-page rules, the Grimdark. I like the army version. Now, for those who are not familiar, one-page rules, they originally started out with the idea of being able to play with your cough, cough, Grimdark models with one double-side page of rules. Now, over the years, these have been play tested to death, and literally hundreds of thousands of people play this game, or at least are subscribed to the Patreon. And if you look at social media for this game, people are playing it to death because it allows people to play with any model from the Games Workshop back catalog, Fantasy or 40K, whatever, plus other game systems. I was using it to play Star Wars for a long time. And the army lists are all free online. And the basic rules, which I think are up to 7 pages, but are, very spaced out. It's not like it's a dense rule set for 7 pages. I think they're also free. And then if you want to buy the deluxe rules, which I think are 14 pages total, with all the additional missions and all the additional objectives, I think you're up to like 14 pages for the army version. And you can literally play any army from any Games Workshop game in history. And if you go through the community site, there's even more play tested army lists. So you can play anything, and it's super fast. It's a 4-turn game. It cuts, at least the army version of it, and it cuts like the 12-inch on either side of the tabletop that you would normally like spend turn 1 and 2 moving into. Those don't exist. So you're basically deploying and then playing. Really, you're in it from turn 1, and you have to try and meet your objective in those 4 turns. And it's quick, it's punchy, it's super fun. Clearly, it's been play tested to death, and it's constantly being updated, but not in an obnoxious way where you constantly have to change things. It's to make it better quality of life, not to sell models. And recently, they have started putting out STLs that you can subscribe to their service, and they can sell you that if you really want. But they say that's just if you really want it. Otherwise, the rules are just there. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, they've been doing STLs for a long time. They also sell. They just released their box, their actual box.
Yes,
so that's great. That. And as far as the rule set goes, basically, if you're familiar with any war game, so they have their super condensed rule reference on one double-sided page, and then extended rules, which are when you move, go front to front, or whatever, measurings. It's stuff like that. But like all the measurements are just, it's either 6 inches or a foot, unless they're fast or slow. Like you either move 6 inches or you run a foot. People have 2 stats. They have their quality and their defense. And aside from, it's just meant to be streamlined. It's meant to be simple. It's not meant to be convoluted. I have the kill team rule sets somewhere around here, and I've tried to read it, and
it hurts.
Yeah, something about it. It just doesn't get its hooks in me. And I've read the Stargrave rules. Looks cool. I haven't played it yet. I love Gaslands, so it's not the fact that it's a book. Like I can handle some words, but it's just it doesn't hit.
Yeah, I've played 4 or 5 games of Kill Team at this point, and I want to like it. It looks good on the tabletop. The terrain that they put out, particularly like the shipboarding one, and like the urban ruins, stuff like that. Yep. I love what they're doing with the miniatures, selling these small specialist kits. It's super tight. It just looks fantastic. But when I play it on the tabletop, it gives me a headache. And I love the original Necromunda. I loved Mordheim. I love a lot of games that are smaller scale. I just don't love Kill Team. And I really wish I did. Like
Same.
Warcry was phenomenal. It is phenomenal. It is so quick and easy. It is so streamlined. It is so fun. It does everything on the tin. Kill Team, I think they tried to ratchet up a little bit of crunch and grind to it.
Yeah.
And I just don't enjoy it.
And okay, I'm going to talk about 2 games that I love both of them, but to an extent, I kind of have a mild criticism of one. And the only reason I'm being trepidatious about it is because I do love them both. But the Weirdos games.
Oh, right.
I love Space Weirdos. It is one of my favorite. And like even when you print out the like zine, I think it's 16 pages.
Yeah.
The art on the front cover is as grungy and dirty, and I want to give it a hug. That's how nice it looks. And then when they did their Sword Weirdos thing, I understand what they did. They made it a little more complicated. They wanted to make it kind of a D&D style class-based, party-based sort of deal. And it's not as much for me. I will still play it, but it just, something about we're going to be quick, we're going to be dirty, pick some rules, pick some guys, and rock and roll. It's a little more thought out, which I'm fine with, but Space Weirdos is just, it's almost too pure to be expanded upon.
I wanted to ask you about Space Weirdos because I know that you played that on your channel. Because and I have played, I've played Sword Weirdos. And I really like the mechanics. Folks, if you haven't checked out the Weirdo games, you can get them on Wargame Vault, I believe. They are super cheap.
$5 a piece.
$5 US a pop. So like $7.50 Australian. And it is, again, another miniature agnostic. Bring out your toys from the toy chest and let's play this game. And you can use all sorts of miniatures to represent all sorts of profiles. It's really inclusive the way that the game is created. I love how the Sword Weirdos mechanics, and I'm pretty sure Space Weirdos does the same thing. Things slide up and down in the dice you use. So if things get harder, it's not that you change your modifiers so if it's not like a D6 game where you say, okay, I'm rolling D6, it's -1 to hit because you're behind cover. In the Weirdo games, you change the die. So instead of saying it's D6, it's D4 or D8 or D10. And the way things slide up and down is super fun. And I think it really, really has legs. It's just a really well put together game.
Not only that, and I should keep this in my pocket because I've referenced it so many times, but there's an article written about how it's not just, you're rolling a D4 against a D6. It's 2D4 and against 2D6.
Right.
Which, and again, that doesn't seem like anything, especially to me. I'm just kind of a grip it and rip it sort of dude. I'm not thinking it through. I'm just having fun.
Right.
But when you break down the math on the 2d6 versus 1d6, it's so much more balanced. So there's like a bell curve rather than a flat likelihood, and it makes the advantages a lot heavier. So going up against 2d6 versus 2d10, you're going up against an average of 7 versus an average of 11. Now, I don't know what the likelihood is, but it's weighted a lot heavier rather than 1d6 versus 1d10.
Yeah.
And not only that, especially with skirmish games, one of the things that I think personally impresses me or makes me think that, okay, this is really, really cool, really thought out, is when the running mechanic or movement mechanic is not simply, okay, you can either move and shoot or just move twice. And one of the really cool things about the Weirdos games is that your ability to move, it's just speed. So you can move, everything's measured in sticks. So these are 5-inch sticks divided in the middle. But when you move, you have a movement stat, and you can allocate that many actions to movement.
Yeah.
So it's not like someone who has a 3 movement can move 3 times on their turn. It's you can spend up to 3 actions moving.
Yeah.
And it's elegant. Everything, especially Space Weirdos has done, is just so elegant, so streamlined, and it's really just intuitive, I think is the way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. The same author put out
Casey Garsky.
Yes.
That dude's dope.
I actually talked to him at one point about having him on the show. I have to have that happen because he
Tell him I said what's up.
Oh, I definitely will. I cannot believe I'm blanking on the name of the game. Dogfight? No.
Oh man, Void Fighter.
Void Fighter. Thank you. I think Dogfight was one of the original names for it because I read some notes about it, and it is an Osprey game, and it's some of the weirdo mechanics, but in a dogfighting game. So yeah, Void Fighter is amazing. It allows you to kit bash like pretty much any kind of spaceship you want, and then have fights with them on the tabletop.
Also heard rumors on the Weirdos, whatever it is. I don't know if it's Space Weirdos or just Weirdos Discord, but I think they're coming out with a sequel as well to Space Weirdos. I think. I don't quote me on anything.
Hey man,
can't be trusted.
Yeah, if you see it on social media, sometimes things come and go so quickly, and some of us miss it.
Yeah.
So, I know Casey. It's Casey Garsky, right?
Garsky, yep.
Garsky, yeah, his stuff is so good.
Oh man,
yeah, I need to get Void Fighter on the tabletop. I bought it. Unfortunately, the exact same time I bought Harefoot Jousting, and which is a McCullough game. Joe McCullough, author of like Stargrave and Frostgrave, he did a funsies game club / game convention / game night game where you're halfling jousting, and because nobody asked for it, but it is super fun. And then if you flip the book backward and read it the other way, it's goblin jousting. And it's like the dark version of the So if you want to like have halflings riding around on like ponies or like a dog or whatever else, like jousting, or on a chicken, and on the back you have like the goblins on insects or spiders or gross things. It's
just other goblins.
Or other, yeah, exactly. Oh, actually, I don't know if they ride other goblins in that game, but yeah, they should. It's super fun. The mechanics are brilliant, and so those are 2 games that I gotta get on the tabletop because they both look fantastic. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of dogfighting, and please don't hang up. I do not like Star
Wars. That's my finger on the button.
I know. I see your shirt. I do not like Star Wars.
Okay.
Now,
it's defense, nice talking to you. Goodbye.
I've really, truthfully, often wished that I could go back to like 1970 and just experience the magic, because my dad talks about it, or I think he was born in 70, so like he talks about it with a reverence that I'm truly jealous of.
Mhm.
So okay, I have that, and I have no beef with the original trilogy, and then
Right?
somehow they all just kind of the quality goes and goes.
Hey, man, Rogue One, as far as I'm concerned, the original trilogy, Rogue One, I even like Han Solo.
I
Those are
didn't
my
see Han
favorites.
Solo, and I meant to watch Rogue One back when people still did DVDs.
Mhm.
My girlfriend at the time rented it from Redbox. I don't know
Mhm.
if you guys had that over there, but
I know it. Yep.
okay, we got the DVD, put it in the DVD player, and it's just skipping. It's not working.
Oh.
She returns that, goes to a different Redbox. Same deal.
Oh.
So I just missed it. I've heard nothing but good things about Rogue One. I love Alan Tudyk, but like as far as Star Wars, the magic doesn't come from any. It comes from the universe
Yeah, right?
for sure, and that it just doesn't grab me.
I
But
hear you.
the reason I mention is because I think one of the quintessential dogfighting games was probably Star Wars X-wing, or
Oh,
at least
100%.
yeah, and I think Gaslands has probably taken up that mantle now.
Mhm. Oh, I couldn't agree more. But Mike Hutchinson, what a legend. His stuff is so good, which reminds me, I have I just got, I think it's called Tonks, um,
Okay.
which is his tank fighting game. I believe that's him. But also the Drunken Orc game where they're punching each other up and moving around and throwing dice. You throw dice to figure out which way people face. I've read it.
Okay.
It hurt my brain. It's phenomenal. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. It's super good. I need to
Drunk,
play it.
just drunken orc game or like
Oh,
man, I'm gonna be looking this up now.
yeah. Look up Mike Hutchinson's stuff.
Okay.
Because like yeah, that's a trip. And I was listening to him talk about playtesting it on his Rules of Carnage podcast. Um, and I was like, how does this work? You're throwing dice at your own models? What?
No,
It
these
is
are
not,
3D printed. They're brittle. Don't do that.
I know, right? It's giving me like flashbacks to playing crossbows and catapults as a kid.
Oh,
However, which they've re-released. I just found this out. Apparently, I'm late to the party.
I'm pretty sure that's just the Angry Birds board game.
No, dude, crossbows and catapults. I was walking through the game store and I hard stopped and
Really?
like 90-degreed my head to look at the shelf. And the guy behind the counter, because I'm at Fine Games in the city of Melbourne a lot, looked at like we know each other and he laughed and he said, crossbows and catapults. And I said, yes. And he said, you're not the first person to do that. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's out again. And he said, it's actually been out for a little while. And there's like a smaller, simpler version. And then there's the one with all the bells and whistles. And oh my God, do I want to play that? Because going to my grandma's house in Iowa,
Oh
because
man.
she had this big dining room table and
Yep.
setting that up and playing with my cousin or just playing with myself, being both sides, shooting the barbarians
Yep.
or the dwarves and shooting anyway,
Oh.
that game.
Well, I did the same thing when I heard they were re-releasing HeroScape.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I went to the game store, and again, I understand they're unpainted. I'm not mad at them, and I understand that things cost money. But when things cost money, that means I don't get to play.
Yeah.
So I did see the price, and they're not bad, especially for like war game prices. They're pretty bog standard, but you know, I
I
3D print my
hear you.
stuff because I have a toy that makes my toys for me.
I hear that too.
Oh yeah.
It occurred to me that I may have this game on my phone. I do. Tonks is Tonks, is an absolutely phenomenal. Like you have two tanks and you're moving around a table and you're trying to to shoot one another. Super easy to pick up. 2x2 foot board, some
Nice.
terrain, a couple of 6-sided dice. It's super cute, and everything is like super deformed tanks, but you can make your own. It's absolutely rad.
I like
This
it.
game I cannot I don't know, how do I say,
recommend
it enough.
Yes.
However, I don't think is that a Mike Hutchinson game? No, it is not. However, what is a Mike Hutchinson game, and the other game I was talking about, is Space Gits. And it is a game where orcs are basically in a drunken brawl, and it is so clever the way that he has put this game together. And it is super cheap online. Both of those games are, and both of them are very orky. Friends, if you have not checked those out, those are great game club or beer and pretzel games. And I say that in a good way.
Yes.
I know some people dismiss some games as, beer and pretzel games. These are designed to be like little games you can play while you're waiting for other games to finish up. They are great. So good. But anyway, Mike Hutchinson, Gaslands. You play Gaslands on your channel. I love Gaslands.
Yes.
Talk to us about Gaslands.
Okay, so I think literally every game except for one of Gaslands that I've played is on the channel. So I introduced it to a buddy of mine, and we didn't record that one, but every other game I've played is on the channel. It's just me playing two-handed, and I have watched all of it. Like if you've put out a Gaslands video, I've seen it. Like that's how much I love it. So when I started my channel, I really wanted to get into battle reports. Like that was my number one deal. But I wasn't sure how to film, as like the technical aspect of it was really confusing to me. So I was just like, hey, let's rock and roll with terrain making because I don't have to move my camera. But I've experimented with a couple different methods of filming battle reports, and I think Gaslands was the one that taught me best. And so what happened was I have 3 kids, and I really only had them so I could increase the power of my dad jokes. That's the only reason. And it started out with who was it? Anthony Kiedis start with his buggy, the Kia Fornication.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Gravel de Gras and the Chariot. So literally every single game I play, it's based off a pun. So we did that race, and then we did another race. I think it was Skid Vicious and Johnny Rotor versus a couple other ones. And, well, okay, we've had 2 different teams race 2 different teams. Well, now they have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I guess now in transit, I made a couple of cars based off the Ninja Turtles. Well,
As
okay.
you should.
Ninja Turtles are the greatest show ever. You can't beat it. I will talk your ear off about Ninja Turtles. I'll have to find a podcast so I can bully them into letting me on because I love my turtles.
You may have just found that podcast. Anyway, continue. Yeah.
But yeah, so on the way to whatever boss they had to fight, because I hadn't thought it through yet. I'm not thinking more than one video ahead. I have to get this thing out on Tuesday, so
right.
Yeah, I'm writing my script on Monday night if I'm ahead. So I'm just working on what I'm doing. So who was it? It was Gravel de Gras and the Chariot have a highway race against the Ninja Turtles where every round everything moves back like 12 inches or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Turtles won, and I'm sorry for all the spoilers, but then they had to go up against the War Rig.
Oh,
yes.
Love a War Rig.
Oh,
yeah.
That was so fun to paint. And okay. One of the things I love about Gaslands especially is because, you know, if you've kind of figured out who I am and just that bubble-headed goofball I am as a human being, I love simplicity. I simplicity, elegance, mainly because anything more complex than that I can't understand. And Hot Wheels are that simple, pure, delightful thing. Yep. I've said 100 times, if you give an adult of any age a Hot Wheels, they know how to play with it, and they will instinctively.
Yeah.
Also,
100%.
Yeah. And I have 2 little boys. So my house is structurally dependent on Hot Wheels at this point.
Yeah.
I have 100 of them. yeah, it's great. And I'm sorry, I kind of lost my. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So I'm wanting to build a war rig, and I had gone to like every Walmart, every toy store, every store you can imagine. Just every time we're out and about for like a month or two, trying to find a truck to buy. And I work at a place, a distribution plant for meat, and we have, people have trucks of varying scales there on their desk. And I'm like, where'd you get that? Can I
Yep.
have it and ruin it? Well, no. Yeah, I know. I'm looking for this. I can't find a stupid truck except for these Hot Wheels they have at Walmart. And it's like a semi that's a bathtub with a duck as the cab. Well, no, that's dumb and I don't want it. Because if I
Yep.
didn't think about it, if I didn't think it up, it's not funny.
Right.
And then I promise you, it took a month and a half for it to simply dawn on me that I have a toy that makes these toys. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about 3D printing it, but
Hmm.
that war rig was something that I force gumped my way into. It looked great, and when I was done with it, I just thought to myself, I couldn't do this again.
Right.
Looks awesome. So then the Ninja Turtles got to go up against the war rig, and that was the last game of Gaslands I played. I don't have any plans to play it in the future on the channel. Not because I don't want to,
Hmm.
but just because it kind of the story arc came to the end of its life cycle.
Yeah.
And now because of that, I would feel wrong not making more cars. But I've already done 4 videos making cars and it seems a little redundant. So I'm kind of, and
Yeah.
I've got other stuff to do. So it's just balancing.
Hey, so I heard somebody say that there's a lot of good games out there that we can spend our hobby time and our hobby dollars on. I'm not. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a thing, right?
Sounds familiar. I don't know.
Somebody said that. It took, yeah. It took me forever to find the proper rig to make a war rig. It actually, I would say, it probably took me about a year of constantly stopping in at toy stores when we were traveling, stopping in like at Toys R Us in the US when they were still around, um, and just dragging people who definitely don't want to be going into toy stores as adults because they don't have children. And I'm like, no, I'll be 10 minutes. I'm just gonna take a quick look. And finally I found one that was like a bank on wheels and was
Oh, like an
perfect.
armored car?
Kinda, but it's like the
Okay.
back of it opens up and you can actually have cars drive
Nice.
into it. So I was very excited about that. And then honestly, I've sadly never painted it. So I have to I need to get over my paralysis on that one and paint it up at some point because the war rigs are just too cool in the
They're
game not
so
to play
fun.
with.
And
Yeah.
one of the things I did with this is I drilled out the rivets on a couple of Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And I took one and just sawed it apart until it was the shape I wanted and made it into a hat for the cab to wear.
Awesome.
Oh, it was fun.
That's cool.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
man. Do exactly what they did in Fury Road, right? To sort of
Yes.
cut the cars apart and put it back together in a different way. Yeah, Gaslands is a game I need to get back to playing more. I played with our good friend Dave Hunsdale not too long ago, and he had, I believe it was Dave, had the team of cars that just, I think it was a Warden team, and all the cars blew up. Uh, that was challenging, or it might have been our friend John. Maybe I played a couple games against this, but trying to dodge that crap
Hmm.
was challenging. But yeah, it's
Well,
a phenomenal game.
that's the other amazing thing about Gaslands. And just for people who haven't played it, I'm going to try and explain it just enough so you get the rules. But basically, every round is divided into 6 gear phases, and you're
Mhm.
only allowed to move in a particular gear phase if your gear is that gear or higher. So if you're in gear 4, you can move in gear phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So the whole game, what you're doing is balancing, okay, I want to move, I need to go fast. That's what I'm concerned with. But then also, if you get too many hazards, you will wipe out, not get to go for the rest of the round, and possibly explode.
Yeah,
So it's a real test your luck. I am trying to push it to the absolute limit without going over. And that, oh, it's so fun.
it is.
Especially when you or like the movement templates, the fact
Hmm.
that you're not allowed to pre-measure. And the reason they do this is because we are rocking and rolling. We are you're not pre-measuring. We're not dorks here. Let's go.
Yep.
And when you have a gap that is like a half an inch wider than your Hot Wheels, you're like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna win this. And no matter what, if you hit it, it feels great. And if you don't hit it, it's still fun because it's
Yeah.
Hot Wheels, it's Mad Max. So even the crashes are delightful.
Well, the podcast that Mike has is named after the rule from Gaslands, the rule of carnage. Gotta love the car pun there. Where it says that anytime there are two rules that are interacting that you're not sure about, go with the one that causes more damage. That is literally how the game is structured. So it's maximum mayhem. And as someone who, when he played X-Wing, flew into every rock imaginable constantly, Gaslands, I'm at least slightly better at judging distances, and I rarely run into things. But when you do, boy, oh boy, does that sometimes, like, you just have to laugh, right? When you like, oh, I thought I would make it between those two pylons. Nope. I guess I just crashed.
Yeah, but now you're not making it through those two pylons because I'm in the way. So figure it out. You're going the long way, bud.
Or hitting someone else's car and then everything spins off and then it just makes makes a mess. There's a couple of times where, you know, you start playing Gaslands and there's maybe 3 or 4 people playing. So you have like 6 or 8 cars lined up at the starting line and someone at the front tries something cute and it spins out and you end up knocking into almost every car in the row. Yeah. And then everything's zinging everywhere. And the first turn might take an extra 20 minutes. And then by the time you get to the next thing, there's like 1 car going and everyone else is just trying to restart their cars. It's great.
Especially when everyone wipes out. Speaking of doing some cute stuff, so in that last game where the Ninja Turtles, which are all buggies, super light cars, except for Michelangelo Rider, he's a truck. But
love it.
Oh yeah, it was Lincoln Donna Tow Truck, Michelangelo Rider, and Rafael Camino.
Oh yes,
absolutely. This one I had to workshop. Like I got most of them by myself, but I couldn't figure out Donna Tow Truck, so I just go around to people at work like, "Are you busy?" "Yeah." "Too bad. We got things. We got important things to do." But one of them had a grappling hook, so you're fighting a war rig. You can't crash into it because you're basically a fly to this thing. He's wiping you off his windshield, so you can't crash into him. At best, they have pistols, so that's also like a bee sting. You're not doing anything. But the war rig was at its, like, I think it needed one more hazard to go. And I was able to figure out how to pull in front of him, hit the grappling hook, and then force a rear end. And it was one of those things, I know I played it wrong, and I put what I was supposed to do on the rules, but I think the way it worked, I was able to wipe him out. Kind of like zing past them, wipe them out, and then keep going.
Awesome.
So it was one of those goofy rules, but it was
rules
even by
carnage,
myself,
right?
It was so fun. Yeah.
That's it. Well, if you're looking for more Turtles on the Tabletop, our good friends Carl over at Crooked Dice, who make one of my favorite skirmish games, 7TV, which is the high concept of that game, if you're not familiar, is that you take any intellectual property or any miniature anywhere, again, super miniature agnostic, and you can turn it into an episode of a 1970s, 1980s, 1990s TV show or a bad sequel movie. And so you can have like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the Scooby Gang investigating, the visitors from V. Or you can have it is just such a mix of everything. It's wonderful. I love this game.
I've heard you talk about it. It sounds fun.
Crooked Dice just put out miniatures for the Turtles, for Casey Jones, for April, and for Splinter, and the Foot Clan, and Krang, and Shredder. I think there's multiple Shredders. Yeah. And they did the Turtle Van. And while they were at it, because they're amazing, they did the Thundercats and the Thunder Tank. So, and for those of you who are like, oh, I don't know if I want metal models, because I know some people are wrong. Or if you, you don't want to order things from another country because it takes a long time, you can literally go to the My Mini Factory page for Crooked Dice at the moment, which is under Carl's name. So if you just type in 7TV, it'll show up. Go to Carl's page, hit that and then look through the store, you can now print all of the turtle models, the turtle van, Shredder, all of the foot stuff. It's Casey Jones. It's all on there. You just need to search through because they came out in chunks at different times.
Yep.
And they've also recently put out the Red Shadow stuff, all of their 80s stuff. So you can get like the Terminator or Conan. It's just like the models. Oh, they're chef kiss. They are gorgeous. And a couple of people have asked where I get my Dracula for Marvel Crisis Protocol, because I wanted the old, cape and high collar, blah, blah, blah. I wanted that guy.
You want Christopher Lee.
Yeah, exactly. That is my Dracula, is from Crooked Dice. And cool. I just printed it bigger for
Crisis Protocol?
Marvel, because it's a different scale, and painted, and he's perfect. And the Dracula expansion for 7TV is just top tier. And Stoker, I think the grandson of Bram, was part of the project. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, so rad. So Carl does the good Lord's work over at Crooked Dice. I never want to stop, talking about how good his stuff is. Also, he has the Turtle Mousers now. So
that's awesome. See, okay, so I found a couple really good turtle models just browsing, and it's really rare I will like buy premium STLs just because there's so much fantastic stuff people put out online.
Yeah.
But one of the ones they had, it was some on Etsy, but they wanted like $6 for a model. And that was a little rich for my blood. But I think, there was one company they had, it was orcs, but the turtles. So
cool.
Yeah, I got those painted. I got some regular turtles, and then I also have some that I painted in all black and white. So I basically just did a slap chop on them.
Nice.
Focused heavier on the black, and then gave everyone a red bandana to do like a Eastman and Laird sort of thing. It's dope.
That's my turtles, man.
Yeah,
'cause I read the original black and white books as a kid. And,
I have a copy of the original like 8 somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
man, so good. And we're talking about putting together the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness RPG, because that game got rebooted. And a bunch of my friends around here are talking about playing a game. So hopefully in July or August, we will get that together. And I might just have to record an episode of us playing the old RPG, the old Palladium game, because that game was fun. And now you can get the rules again. So yeah, good stuff. Now, hold on. Speaking of rules, a rule set that I know you've messed around with that I'm curious about. 5 parsecs.
5 parsecs. That is another one of my favorite games. And the problem with every single game I own, the fundamental problem with them is that they're all so good that I cannot choose a favorite. You know, every one of them is, Space Weirdos is my favorite, and so is One Page Rules, and so is Gaslands, and so is 5 parsecs. But so 5 parsecs is a little different in that it is single player fundamentally. You can do a multiplayer, but it's meant to be played single player. And the war game element of it, you have between 4 and 6 dudes, and that doesn't change. Like, you set the amount of models you particularly will be using in a battle at the beginning of a campaign. So you'll either be using 4, 5, or 6, and that number doesn't change. And then you'll have a certain amount of enemies and, different missions that you do. But the cool thing about it is what happens in between the war game element. The war game element's great. You have different stats, and your basic roll to hit is, I forget exactly how it works, but I think if you're within 6 inches, you need a 3 up. If you can see people without cover, it's a 5 up. And then if they're in cover, you need a 6 up. And then they have a skill to go with it. But in between, you before the war game, you generate your job, you generate the mission. Then you get paid. And with the money and experience and all that, you get to level up your people, level up your ship, pay off your ship because you started off in debt because we're having fun, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have enough debt in real life, thank you.
Oh, man. Yeah. It's a little too real when it hits close to home. And then you get a couple random encounters, but it's just one of those where, like, the progression of how you play is really fun because, you know, when someone gets a single boost in a stat, it feels fundamental, like they feel better. So it's really nice to have that and to go, okay, this guy is now like a genuine contender rather than someone I have to make sure that I spend the extra action to get him in cover and, you know, he's hiding. No, now he's Rambo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also I just have fond memories of it because the first game I played, I used miniatures from the Firefly Brigands and Browncoats board game. And I've talked about that on other podcasts. Unfortunately, the actual board game itself is a little bit clunky. It's a little bit goofy. You can tell the people who designed it, it felt like kind of a first time, but also it's amazing, especially when you're playing a game. I can feel the love for the property and for gaming itself through the game. So even if it feels clunky, every time I'm playing it, it's like, okay, I know what you were trying to do. And just because it didn't work doesn't mean I don't love this.
Right.
So I just want to say that because it's a fun game if you're willing to deal with some clunkiness.
Yeah.
But the miniatures are great.
Yeah, exactly.
They are absolutely great. And then, you know, you have a bunch of little shipping containers that act as your buildings. It's essentially a war game. It's on a grid, and there's some weird like RPG elements that they work, but trying to figure out the timing of everything, again, a little clunky. But 5 parsecs just lends itself so much to being played in a Firefly style. It's so much fun.
Nice.
And then after you do that, I have multiple minis. I love synthwave stuff. So I painted up all these minis in synthwave. And then I realized, like, after I built the team, it's literally a cross between Firefly and every like 80s and 90s like A-Team or Expendables or like, you know, everyone is a stereotype.
Yep.
But and the beautiful thing about those particular stereotypes or archetypes, whichever one you prefer, is that because they're a little different, but not so much, it's that you use those as your building blocks, and then the character kind of comes to life.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they are this stereotype, and now here's where they either buck the trend or don't, and it's just fun to create your own headcanon, especially when, like, I'm the only one who knows about this. This lives and dies in here. I'm the only one crazy enough to care, but it comes out on the table and how they act.
Right. Yeah.
And that's one of the other things I try to do in like my battle reports or anything. One of the things in on my channel that I never want to do is waste people's time. I feel so blessed that people are actually watching what I do. It feels wild. So the last thing I want to do is for algorithmic purposes or to, you know, milk watch time. I don't want to waste people's time. So when I write my script, I literally will record it, and then whatever element of that video the script pertains to, I will just fast forward it so there's not a moment of dead silence unless I want there to be to either punctuate a joke or something that happened.
Yeah.
Amen,
brother. Amen.
Yeah. And it really means, like, okay, now that I'm doing this, if I want watch time, I got to earn it, you know? I got to be funny, or I got to make it worth your time. So that's why with my battle reports, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to come to what I do. You're not going to come to one of my battle reports and know the rules. That's not what I'm here for. If you've watched one game, you probably have a handle on the rules, or as good of one as you're going to have watching gameplay. What I'm here to do is give you the rhythm of what happened and tell a story, because I like that narrative element. I'm not here to give you, 15 pages of lore, but here's the good guy, here's the bad guy. He's bad because he's bad, just fundamentally. He's chaos. So,
Yeah.
like, we know he's bad. That's it.
Yeah.
But here's the good guys, and we're going to talk about the good guys and what they do. And most of it comes through the names. So, one of the last ones I did, I had one of the starter sets for Age of Sigmar from like 10 years ago. It's one of the first things I ever bought in the hobby. So it was Stormcast versus Corn Warriors.
Yeah.
And the Stormcast Eternals were named after Scooby-Doo characters.
You don't see that every day.
No. So it was like, and I had somebody help me name them, but it was like Rudger the Shaggy, Velmar, Sir Frederick. And then the dog was never referred to as Scooby. He was just the recalcitrant beast.
Nice.
And then all the bad guys are named after the bad guys from Firefly, because I am one note as all get out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you seem to see, you may not like Star Wars, but it seems that you do like some space dramas.
Oh, I love sci-fi is great. It's just Star Wars never got its hooks in me, and I'm a contrarian by nature. So if there's something everyone loves that I'm not also in love with, then I'm just gonna, furrow my brow and be a grump about it.
Well, having watched a bunch of your games, I definitely can pick up where your theme is as far as showing people how to play the games. It's more that you're telling the narrative and the story on the tabletop, not how the game mechanics necessarily work through, because your game reports are short and punchy.
Absolutely.
And I mean short and punchy. And they're really entertaining because of the way that you've cut it and the way it works through in a way that, as a man who uses 10 words when most people would use 2, I'm really jealous of. But yeah, you really do tell a story in the time that you have, and you don't waste people's time. I do watch a lot of YouTube content of trying to figure out how some of these games work when I'm podcasting or before I play them, just to make sure that I'm reading the rules right. And, sometimes I do bog down in those rule heavy videos just to be like, I am getting this right. Right. But it is also really refreshing to go to watch a video like yours where you actually tell the story. And I'm not going to turn it off halfway through because I've gotten the rule bit down. Yours are short enough that I can watch the whole thing, really enjoy the story of it, and it's fun.
Exactly. And you know what? When I say this, I want to make clear, like, I started this, my number one thought is, am I making things I would want to watch?
Right.
And I know that's the fact because I'm a chronic navel gazer, and I watch my own videos back every now and again, and I giggle at them because, you got to make yourself laugh.
Oh, man, I don't know. I hate this. As someone who's been podcasting for as long as I have, I hate the sound of my own voice, and I will not listen to myself unless I have to.
I do too. Especially like in here, it's all bassy. Like I get the reverberation of my skull. That's delightful. On the computer, that thing's wrong. But so obviously I don't hate long battle reports. One of my favorite channels, one of my favorite YouTubers, they're called Good Enough Gaming. And they are them and Wylock's Armory. They both do battle reports around the 45-minute hour area. And they're all very, very good about not getting real bogged down. Like if there's rules that the rules, you will learn how to play watching those, or at least as good as you can.
Yeah.
And it's not too much. For me, I will usually watch the whole thing, but every now and again I find myself getting distracted.
Yep.
Whereas, I'm not playing with anyone else. This is a production. I'm literally playing it, on a table with my camera, and, let's boil this down as much as possible. Because, the thing I make fun of them, and but whenever you see people who have obviously never filmed a YouTube video, or like a woman in her 60s showing you how to bake a cake, and instead of saying crack 12 eggs, she painstakingly shows you her cracking 12 eggs.
Yeah.
Again, she doesn't know where the edit button is. I do, and I'm gonna use it because
I'm gonna cut it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want them to waste my time. Let's just have fun.
Exactly. exactly. I hate to say it, our time is nearing a close.
You know, let's just do another one back to back.
Okay. Well, I do need to get my dog out.
I know.
Yeah.
I gotta go to
Otherwise,
bed.
we are going to have a very loud distraction in a minute. Go
Fair
back
enough.
to earlier comments about precocious Jack Russells. I do want to talk about Great Helm, though.
Oh yeah,
This is a game I'm not familiar with, and
Okay.
you did mention. Please do tell me about Great Helm because I don't know this game.
Okay, I will try to be succinct. Basically, it is a war game with knights, so like proper, knights in armor. It's 6-on-6, and it is played on a sheet of paper.
Oh,
yeah. Now, again, I don't think they have anything out officially. Their starter rules are out. That's 2 pages, but the whole shtick is you're supposed to be basically zooming in on a just tiny bit of a larger battle. So you have your 6 minis, and in the starter rules, when you deploy them, you can literally deploy them anywhere on the map, on the sheet of paper. And that includes in base contact with another mini. And then the basic rhythm of the round is you roll D6s equal to how many knights you have +1. So everyone starts with 7. And then each numerical value corresponds to a particular action, i.e. 6 means you get to run up to 5 inches. 5 means you get to run up to 3 inches. 4 means you can move somebody. 3 means you can move an inch. What is it? 2 is a light attack and 1 is a heavy attack. And on your turn, you can either engage in that action or spin a dice down. So not only that, every time you move, you're balancing what are called charge tokens, which essentially act as a one-time use boost for your attack. So I haven't played it yet. I have a couple sets of minis that I'm going to paint up. I have a good idea on the scheme on how I want to paint them, but I'm afraid it's going to go terribly wrong because I'm not going to do them regular. I want to do basically start with a dark blue, go out to a white, like in a almost slap chop method, like just everything ice and then redo the details.
Oh,
to almost make White Walkers.
Yeah,
now,
love it.
Up here, it sounds like a great idea. On the table, it's going to look goofy, but we'll see.
Makeup sponges, my friend. Makeup sponges. Just saying.
But yeah, this game looks great. And shout out another company if that's okay. Baron of Dice.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. I sent them a message just like, hey, I love what you do, love your stuff, whatever. And they were kind enough to send me some dice and a movement gauge.
Oh, cool.
And actually, can I show it? Can I show it to you real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, 1 second.
Baron of Dice also make wonderful Marvel Crisis Protocol dice. I have quite a few of their custom dice sets for Marvel that I'm a huge fan of. Specifically, I got red, dark red, almost brown, clear dice for Marvel that on the, I believe it's the crit face, has Dracula fangs on it. As someone who runs Dracula in almost every Marvel game he's played in the last 12 months, yes, that.
Okay. I want to be clear. Generally, I try not to judge people on things that are unimportant. However, I would almost argue that it is immoral to have your special symbol on the one side.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the few things that irks me enough. I'll get angry about it, but But no, they gave me some dice with the Maltese cross.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Also, I love Black Templars. I love Space Marines. I love just knights because, I'm very Catholic and also have main character syndrome. So those two things together it's not good. It's not good. But, ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, I love those. I love those.
Yeah.
But
big fan. Big fan.
Yeah, they sent me this thing. So this is just a movement gauge, but it comes with a coin on the back.
So wow.
Yeah. And also, okay, can you see how thick that is?
Yeah.
That's like a 1/4 inch thick. You you could beat somebody to death with that.
Exactly.
So at
That's
least if
handy in
I'm
an axe,
losing, I
right?
know what I'm doing. But yeah, the fact that Great Helm, the most you're ever moving is 6 inches. I'm like, I really want to break this out. I want to get my Crusader Knights, and I just want to have fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah,
That's awesome, man.
and also that those Baron of Dice Company, they were some of the nicest people I've ever spoken to. Like, they are just cool. So buy their things, I guess. I don't know. They're
Hey,
nice
man,
guys.
I have bought at least 4 sets of their dice.
Nice.
So I'm a huge fan, and they're Marvel dice specifically.
You're not just a goblin.
Sorry, what?
You're not just a dice goblin.
No. But I spend a
am.
lot of time painting up Marvel stuff that will be, matches the suits of the characters from when I was reading the comics as a kid.
Yeah.
And so I want like the STLs of people wearing the old suits, and then I want the movement sticks that have like the names and the colors on it, because I want a Daredevil set, and I want a Sam Avenger set, and I want a Captain America set, and a Steve Rogers Captain America set, because obviously I can't have two. I can't use the same movement tools for both Captain Americas. How
that would
dare
be ridiculous.
I know. I just need someone to make a Dracula stick set. Oh, actually, I think I just got one of those now that I think about it.
So like I said, the dice I got and this movement gauge, they got the Maltese cross on them. And with those Solaris Crusaders, they look like basically Space Marines crossed with Crusaders, or like the Stormcast crossed with the Crusaders. They're great. And I've been playing around with like all my other STLs. So I found a Ryan Gosling head that's absolutely going to be on one of them. Awesome. But I also realized, why am I using... like the pauldrons, the shoulder pads they have are great, but why would I not be using Black Templar shoulder? That's just the right thing to do, and especially you get them in the blue and gold of a proper Stormcast. That's gonna look dope.
It's gonna look good, man. Yeah. Also, when I said I just need it with Dracula, of course I have the movement tools with Dracula. The second I said it, I went, oh wait, I own those. Coggo Tool, I believe is what they're called on Etsy. If you look up Marvel Crisis Protocol stick sets, cool. Yes, I need to have everything Dracula, including the T-shirt of the old matching Dracula comic book, just so when people are like, "That's not Dracula in Marvel," I can go, "Yeah, it is, right here, buddy."
Have you heard the Tame Impala song?
No.
It is. I don't know. I think it got a remix that people like. Just look up the original. It's Tame Impala, and it's the song Dracula. It's one of the catchiest, grooviest songs you'll ever listen to, and it should be your new walkout music for when you play Dracula. That's really how you should do it. We need to bring walkout music into the board games.
I'm an old punk rocker, or maybe not that old, but I definitely Scream Dracula Scream by Rocket from the Crypt is one of my favorite albums.
Nice.
And Bela Lugosi's Dead is what I always hear in my head was I'm rolling out onto those tabletops of Dracula. But anyway, that's another thing. Yeah. So cool, right? Man, I gotta look up. I don't need another game to look up. I really don't.
No, all of them.
Tony, come on, man. Let's not. My poor head.
I know.
Speaking of which, I got a game. I played a game of Bolt Action recently. So excited to get it back on the table again. And like a giant jerk, I hadn't realized that I've been playing a lot of Conflict 47. I hadn't played Bolt Action proper in a little while. And so I was getting a bunch of rules wrong. Tim, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I will play better when we play again tonight. But it was like, again, going back to what you're talking about of games that are your favorite. Bolt Action is my favorite game. Like, hands down.
World War II?
It is World War II.
Okay. I had it confused because of the GW video game that came out. I thought they might be related in some way.
Oh, no. If you ever played old Warhammer 40K, like 3rd Ed, 4th Ed, way back when,
I did not.
It is very Bolt Action-y.
Okay.
As in, Bolt Action was written by Alessio and Rick Priestley, who also worked on Warhammer 40,000, 3rd Ed, and 4th Ed. So go figure, they have similarities. So there's a lot of vibes that are similar across. The rules are different. but vibesy, they're very similar, and that's my favorite era of Warhammer. So for me, like Bolt Action just hits all the buttons game wise, and I just love the way it plays on the tabletop. It looks great. I've really enjoyed digging into the history aspect of it, but the fact that every unit, and people who are listening to this usually have played Bolt Action forever, and I'm sorry if I'm going to mansplain a couple of the mechanics. My favorite mechanics in the game are the pin mechanic. Every time you hit a unit, they get a pin marker, and they pile up. And the more pins a unit has on it, the less likely they are going to do what you want them to do on the tabletop. They're likely to go down or run away or, dive into cover if people are shooting at them, or if they're trying to do something. You're trying to get to an objective. If you have a lot of pins, you can fail. And so it really does. That pin mechanic is a big part of how the game plays on the tabletop. And I love how you have to manage that to make sure that you are able to accomplish the goals that you want on the tabletop. But also every unit in the army has an order dice, and you put that into a bag, and you put all your order dice in. I put all of my order dice in. You shake it on up, and then each turn you pull out die, and you don't know when your next activation is. And I love that uncertainty. I love that you have to manage that and think about, wait, how many dice do you have left in the bag? How many dice do I have left in the bag? What does that kind of mean for, which activation is next? Can I do the thing I want? Or, is it more likely that you're going to get your dice and then I'm going to likely get, if I leave somebody out in the open, they're going to get smashed by something. So it's that management of it is just phenomenal. And it always keeps it fresh. Like there's no alpha striking per se, because you don't know what die is going to come out of the bag next.
So what's the model count? Roughly.
If you're playing, if we call it like 1,000 points or 1,200 points, you'll have a platoon or two. Given now that we're in the 3rd edition, maybe you'll even have 3 platoons, which if you have a rifle platoon, you'll have between 2 and 4 squads of like 6 to 10, 12 guys. Most of my armies are about 40 infantry.
Okay.
And then like a tank, an armored car, maybe an artillery piece. It is very attainable. And now that we're in the 3rd edition and points have changed a little bit, I know a lot of people are even running forces that are like 30 models.
And see, that's another thing about painting armies that I can't stand, because every time I paint, I try to get a little bit better. So by the end, all the minis you painted in the beginning aren't worth putting on the table anymore. It's a vicious cycle.
Oh man, which was the name of my college band, Vicious Cycle.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. But also when I was painting those Naval Brigade, it got to the point where I was like, I am going to paint the trousers of 35 guys at once. Also not the easiest colors. There are, as I say, the old zenithal highlight and maybe some sponging or dry brushing does the good Lord's work. I painted an entire U.S. Marine Army in a week.
Oh man,
and they look
great,
good. And I literally used, a spray zenithal, a contrast paint, a quick dry brush over the top, a couple of quick highlights / touch-ups over where things were a little funny with the contrast. And then I painted the skin, I painted their helmets, and I painted their rifles, and I was done. And they are one of my better looking armies. And I still can't believe I don't paint more armies like that. But anyway.
So if anyone does end up watching my stuff,
and you should.
Absolutely, all of it. There's an episode about making desert houses, and it's basically just foam covered in spackle. Great. They look great. They look phenomenal, and it actually did pretty good, especially considering it was one of my earlier videos. However, I attribute that to the thumbnail, which are like a bunch of Marines standing out looking like they're about to just invade this house, just kick the door in and rock and roll. Okay. Now, when I painted these Marines, they looked dope. I just wanted some straight up Marines, current day. That's all I wanted. No silly synthwave, no future stuff, just current day. And I
Yep.
painted them, and they were some of my favorites. You know how that goes.
Oh,
When
I do.
you're like this at this point, this is the ceiling of what I can do. I go out, and this is when I first really started clear coating my minis. Because again, you don't do that at first because you have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
But yeah, I started clear coating my minis, and I go to clear coat them, and I spray them. I
know
didn't
where
look
it's
at the
going.
can. It was primer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one of two things are gonna happen there. Either it's gonna be primer or it's gonna ghost, and then you have to fix it. But oh man, the primer you can't fix.
No, and not only that, or well, yeah, so there's that. It's a shame, and I couldn't bring myself to repaint them.
Yeah.
So they're still like that. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
they are still featured in that video. And the reason some of them are on one side and some of them are on the other is because the backs and fronts that you can't see are all white.
Hey, they got a second life, right? There you go.
Sorry, one more little piece of inside
please.
baseball. If you ever see like a background on my video, except there's one where I did shipping containers. It's the background is like a planet that my sister and I did because we saw those guys who paint planets with spray paint. But what I did, because really when you're doing a thumbnail, you need like that much of the background covered. Yeah. And I ended up stealing some calendars from the guys at work. Some guy had a Van Gogh calendar and one guy had a Bob Ross calendar. I'm just like, dude, those are now my new backdrops. Once second the year's over, I'm taking that.
That is a great idea. I got to do that.
Well, and the only problem is they're small. So like I joke about how you only need that much, but in reality, when you're trying to take a picture, you got to put a lot of terrain in that picture to So it's finicky. You have to, it ends up creating almost more problems, but it worked. And it was just one of those fun things where now just to irritate my coworkers and guilt them into watching me, I'm like, hey, I used your calendar. Thanks again in my video. I'll send you the link. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'll say, forget about it. I'll send you the link. Don't worry. It'll be fine. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Tony, it has been a real pleasure just talking shop, man. Thank you for reaching out. I am loving your videos, and just talking games today has been phenomenal. And I think it really does draw an underline under the fact that most of the games we've talked about today are not what you would consider quote unquote mainstay games. A lot of people look at them like indie games, I think is the title for some of them. And other ones are just smaller game companies. And those games are great. And you can spend time enjoying those. And you don't always have to play the games from the big leagues or the big boys, so to speak. And also watching your channel, you can come up with some amazing terrain with really, I don't want to say simple methods because I don't want to take away from what you're doing. But
absolutely.
But what you were saying earlier about using materials that you can find locally is a big deal, especially
by locally, you mean in the dumpster.
Well, that too, but also, when I was a kid, I was building terrain out of styrofoam from, shipping boxes and books and Pringle cans. And when you can make great terrain out of stuff like that, it's a real skill because your stuff will look different than everyone else and it will still look great on the tabletop.
One of my favorite comments I've ever gotten on a video is I made these orc like barricades, and it was just like girders and sheet metal is what it was supposed to look like. Yep. And the guy said, this is what Games Workshop wanted you to do before they sold their soul or something along those lines. And it was like that. You get me, and that compliment makes my heart feel good. So thank you, sir.
Right on. Right on. Well, friends, Gergen Gaming, Gergen Gaming. Look it up on YouTube. Great videos on there. If you're looking for something to put on in the background while you're doing some painting, some of those battle reports, they're short, they're sweet. They tell a story that you can listen to and enjoy. And man, some of those tutorials are fantastic. Tony, thank you again for coming on, man. It's been so much fun.
Dude, thank you so much. And I'm sorry, do you mind if I give one shout out?
Please.
All right. My sister, who I love very much, has been very supportive. You can find her in the comments of all my videos. And we will go to war with puns and other jokes. She started, yeah, absolutely. She started a channel called Voices from the Abyss. She's just doing like scary, creepy pastas. They're really good. She's got a good voice. And if that's more the vibe you want when you're painting, if you want to feel unsettled and you don't want to be able to hold your brush still, it's focused on like deep sea stuff. It's great. I love her to death. She's awesome. And like I said, thank you so much for having me on. This has been a dream come true. Your show's great. I love it. God bless you. And thank you again.
Oh, man, anytime. What was the name of your sister's channel one more time?
Oh, it's Voices from the Abyss.
Good. All right, friends. I'm going to check that out, and you should too.
Thank you.
Well, as our buddy Casey always says, when you are playing the games that we know and love, I hope that your dice roll hot. I hope that your beverages are cold. But more than that, we at Cast Dice hope that you, yes, you, are having fun. Stay safe out there, guys. Good night.